A lone scholar stands before a restless crowd. Their gaze is steady, their thoughts sharp. The silence stretches, not because they lack words, but because those words carry weight. Why does a single curious mind unsettle so many? That question isn't just for the crowd, it's for all of us. Why do we fear those who think differently? Why do brilliant minds often walk alone? Albert Einstein once said, "Great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds." He wasn't exaggerating. When Einstein arrived in America, his ideas shook the world of science. But more than that, he shook comfort. People didn't know whether to admire him or fear him. Politicians and journalists tried to frame him as an outsider, even a threat. But Einstein remained calm. He once joked, "If my theory is correct, Germany will call me a German, and France will call me a citizen of the world." Ever felt like you didn't belong anywhere? Too different to fit in? Too bold to be accepted? Einstein did, and so did many others before and after him. Centuries earlier, Socrates wandered through Athens, not with swords or wealth, but with questions. Questions that pierced through people's illusions. He didn't teach answers. He taught doubt. And the people hated him for it. They put him on trial and sentenced him to death, not because he harmed anyone, but because he made people uncomfortable. He made them think. Ask yourself, if you had one question that could expose a lie, would you dare to ask it? George Orwell warned us through fiction, but his message was very real. In 1984, he wrote, "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past." Intelligence threatens control. It pulls back the curtain. Galileo didn't shout rebellion. He looked through a telescope. He showed people that Earth wasn't the center of everything. And the church saw that as a danger, not because it was wrong, but because it was true. Would you still speak your truth if you knew it could cost you everything? The truth is, society doesn't fear intelligence. It fears the disruption intelligence brings. In Salem, a town once torn apart by witch hunts, people were accused, imprisoned, even killed, without evidence. Hysteria ruled. But imagine if just one brave voice had said, "Wait, this doesn't make sense." One voice could have saved lives. Have you ever stayed quiet just to fit in, knowing something wasn't right? Ayn Rand once wrote, "When you see a good man die, your tears flow not for him, but for yourself." Why? Because deep down, we know we've betrayed part of ourselves by staying silent. When Marie Curie discovered radium, she wasn't looking for fame. She was trying to understand nature. Her discoveries led to medicine, to hope. But she faced jealousy, accusations. People couldn't handle her brilliance. What if your best work, your brightest spark, made others turn away from you instead of cheering for you? Would you still do it? In today's world, intelligence wears many faces. Steve Jobs envisioned devices we now carry every day. Elon Musk talks about going to Mars. Some call them visionaries. Others call them threats. Why? Because they disrupt what's normal. If you had the power to build something that could change lives, but people laughed at you, doubted you, would you build it anyway? Here's the hard truth. Intelligence isn't just about IQ. It's about courage. The courage to think differently, to ask hard questions, to be misunderstood. And here's the other truth. Not everyone wants the world to change. Comfort is addictive. Certainty is safe. That's why those who shake the ground often walk alone. But imagine a world where bold questions weren't punished, where bright minds weren't feared, where curiosity was celebrated instead of shut down. What kind of world would that be? It starts with you, with your questions, your doubts, your voice. Real intelligence doesn't demand applause. It invites conversation. It opens minds. It holds a mirror up to the world, not to shame it, but to help it grow. So ask yourself this: what truth are you afraid to share? What part of you have you dimmed to stay accepted? The people we fear today might be the ones who save us tomorrow. Don't run from your own brilliance. Don't silence your questions. The world needs them. Step into your mind. Embrace the discomfort, because that's where change begins. And if you ever feel alone on that journey, just remember, you're walking the same path as Socrates, Galileo, Curie, Orwell, and Einstein. They weren't just smart, they were brave. And maybe that's what the world fears most, not intelligence, but the courage to use it.